Hello, Troy Francis, coming at you from Mexico City. So, should you use Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, or any of these other dating apps to meet women in 2023, which is the year we're in now? Yeah, why not? I think is basically the answer. I mean, look, we live in an age that is defined by technology, okay, and by social networking apps of various different kinds, of which dating apps are, I would suggest, a subgenre, okay? Should you be using them? Well, I mean, it would in a way be foolish not to, right? Because if you've got dating apps, then you can approach, and I say that in inverted commas, you can get into contact with significantly more women than you'd ever be able to than just by walking up to them and approaching them, okay? And you can do that over a much wider geographical area. You can do it in multiple geographical areas. So if you happen to be somebody who travels, for example, you know, you come to Mexico City and you're from Stoke-on-Trent, then you can set your dating apps ahead of time to Mexico City, and you can see what's around and you can set up dates before you even arrive, okay? So on the one level, I think it would be foolish to write off dating apps. It seems ridiculous. But there are, and this is something, you know, it might be you're watching this and you haven't been in the dating game for a while, or you've been married, or you come out of, you know, like a long marriage and you're just sort of thinking, right, so what do I do? I want to meet some new people. How do I go about this? You have to understand that it is naive to think of the dating apps as being some sort of Valhalla, you know, some kind of nirvana where you just go online and do a few swipes and then suddenly you've got this beautiful girlfriend. It's not like that. Dating apps are notoriously tricky, and they're not particularly advantageous for guys for the most part. There are guys who do very well on them. A lot of guys don't do particularly well on them, or they get kind of mediocre results, and they actually get better results. That is to say, they meet women who they're more attracted to, they meet higher quality women, and they meet women that they're just more attuned to generally from meeting in real life than they do on the apps. The apps, what you got to remember about the apps is they are a business, okay? They're not there to assist you in finding the love of your life, all right? Because actually, if you meet the love of your life, then you drop off the app and the app loses a customer. There's some beautiful, authentic music being played here. Look at this. Yeah, so the apps are a business, and they actually have a vested interest, when you think about it, in you not achieving your goal. Because if everybody who goes on the app achieves their goal, if their goal is to find lasting love, and everyone who goes on the apps achieves that, then the apps go out of business, okay? So the apps actually benefit from you not getting what you want, okay? And also the apps have to make money. So they want you to upgrade, they want you to spend more money for premium packages and boosting your profile and all of these different things. So it's not really in their interests to just make it super easy for you, okay? The other thing as well is you've got to remember that dating, sex, romance, it is a market like any other, and it's based on demand and supply. And guess where the demand is concentrated? Well, it's not concentrated on mediocre looking blokes from Stoke-on-Trent who make a middling income, all right? The demand is focused on the very most attractive women, wherever they might be based in the world, okay? That's where the demand is. For the most part, now you might be watching this and you're a male model and you're, you know, whatever, super elite, high value guy, okay, fine, then you are going to be in some demand. But even then, you're still not going to experience the same level of demand as a super attractive 24-year-old girl in Medellin is going to get on those apps, okay? So that's the other thing, right? You have to bear in mind, if you're a guy watching this, then you are not the locus of demand, all right? The demand is elsewhere. You are part of the demanding group, if you like. You know, you are a customer, not a customer. You want to get with a particular woman, and there's going to be competition for that woman on the apps, okay? And everybody's on the apps, all right? So it's not just you. It's also the super high value guy, the super ripped guy, the rich guy, the good looking Chad. All of these other blokes are on the apps as well, okay? And what has she got to go on when, because look at it like this, like Tinder. I mean, okay, I think you can still fill in a profile or something, but I mean, who even looks at that, right? What does a woman have to go on when she goes on Tinder? She's flipping through a bunch of photographs, all right? All she's got to go on really is the physical. And I had a conversation with Tallulah from The Feminine Truth about this recently. We did a live stream together, which is on the channel if you search back and have a look. All she's got to go on is the physical. So, of course, that's going to be her main criteria. I mean, it's fair enough, right? And Tallulah said this, as a woman, you know, really, what else do you have to go on? You're going to go on looks, because that is the very nature of those applications, all right? That's the very nature of those channels. Looks. Now, I'm sure there are guys watching this who are extremely good looking, and that's great. But there's always going to be somebody who's better looking than you out there, right? And look, very, very good looking guys, yes, and no surprise, black pill lurkers watching this, you know, tend to do well on the apps, okay? But for most guys, like most women really, fall somewhere in the middle in terms of the looks equation. And if you're somewhere in the middle, yeah, you can do all right, you can get some dates. But are you going to be smashing it on the apps? No, probably not, because you're just somewhere in the middle of that bell curve, okay? So, yes, I think it makes sense to use the apps, but I don't think that you should regard them as being the golden key that's going to solve all of your dating problems, because they're really not. I mean, and I've met people on apps, I've met girlfriends on apps and things like that, and yeah, fine. For me personally, and call me an old romantic, I actually prefer to meet people in real life, you know, whether that's at a bar, whether that's at a cocktail lounge, at a restaurant, at a party, the coffee shop, whatever it is. I actually prefer to meet organically. I just think it's nicer. I think it's more natural. I think it's the way that it always was. I'm not saying it's the way that it should be, but I think that it's just my personal preference. But yeah, I mean, I'll use the apps a little bit for sure. I think what you want to be doing is you want to be adopting an holistic approach to this, okay? So yeah, by all means, get some of the apps, and you know, we can talk more about how to optimize your profile on the apps, but basically it's about having good pictures, so get some good pictures done and get a second opinion on them as well, because, you know, I've seen some pictures that guys have put up on the apps and they're pretty terrible, to be honest. So get a second opinion on it. Don't look like a dork. But yeah, you know, get a couple of the apps going, put some decent pictures up, do a bit of swiping, fine. Don't waste too much time on it. People think that the apps are time efficient, they're really not. You can spend a hell of a lot of time swiping and messaging and blah-de-blah-de-blah, and it all goes nowhere. But get out there and be social as well, you know? When you're in the coffee shop, when you're in the restaurant, when you're in the bar, all right? Look at people, see people that you find attractive, go and initiate conversations with them, okay? What else? Night game as well. I mean, we've touched on that with the bars and things like that. You can use clubs and things like that. The way that you originally meet the woman is not as important as people think, okay? If you meet her online, that's fine. If you meet her in the daytime, that's fine. If you meet her in a nightclub, that's okay as well. None of that really matters. What matters is doing the meeting, creating or generating some chemistry between the two of you, getting her contact details, and then messaging her to get her to come out to meet you for a date. Okay? Now, at any point in the chain of events, it can fall down. Okay? You could meet her on a dating app, and you could get her WhatsApp, and then you might try and get her out on a date, and she ghosts you. Okay? Equally, you could meet her in a bar, and you get her WhatsApp, and then you're talking to her, and then she ghosts you. Okay? So it's not that one of them is more reliable than the other, because there are a lot of factors involved. I'm going to turn back here actually. There's Edgar Allan Poe. There's some cool street names around here. There's a lot of street names around here based on UK and American writers. There's like an Oscar Wilde street, there's an Edgar Allan Poe street. I think there's a Tennyson street somewhere. Girl in Daisy Dukes over there. Yeah, so you want to just basically meet through a variety of means, right? You want to have different funnels where you're meeting people, whether that's online, whether it's face-to-face, whether it's a bit of social circle, or whatever. But the process then is always the same, which is you have a chat, you flirt, you generate a bit of chemistry or try to generate a bit of chemistry, you exchange contact details, you message, and you get her to come out on a date, okay? Those are the fundamental steps. And there's a randomness about what women, which women are gonna go all the way through those steps with you. Okay, some just aren't, because maybe she's just not that interested. Maybe she's, her ex-boyfriend gets back in touch. Maybe some other guy's been messaging her and she prefers him. Maybe she's, her mum's not well, whatever, right? I mean, there's just a myriad of reasons why it's not going to fly every time with every single woman, okay? So you've just got to be out and about consistently, and that can be out and about online as well as out and about in real life. And yeah, just keep it going, okay? Do I think that online is better than real life? No. As I've said, I actually think real life is better than online. I think online has its place. I don't think it's a silver bullet. There is another genre, though, of dating apps or dating websites, which we haven't talked about, and maybe we'll talk about in more detail going forward, which are the sites that are perhaps best described as being for people who want to create an arrangement, okay, with a girl. Look at this, it's very pretty here, look. It's a church, really, really. For people looking for arrangements, okay, and that can sometimes mean a bit of financial support for the girl. It can mean taking her out for dinners. It can mean going on holidays together, buying handbags, stuff like this. I mean, and there's loads and loads of shades of grey in all of that. For slightly older guys, that approach can work pretty well, and I'm not talking about you paying somebody loads of money to hang out with you at all. But given that when you date normally, you're probably going to be paying for, dinners, maybe the odd trip here and there anyway, it can be a very good way for guys, particularly guys who are a little bit older, to meet women who are looking for a reciprocal relationship based on genuine attraction, but where there's also a little bit of that other sort of element involved as well, okay? So that's something to consider, and there are various sites that do that, okay, where people are looking for different kinds of arrangements. And as I say, this is a whole other genre, this is a whole other area that needs really a lot more, a lot more explanation and exploration. But what you don't want to be doing is just getting involved with some gold digger who just wants to rinse you of a load of money. But if you meet somebody and she's cool, and there's genuine mutual attraction there, and maybe you're paying for, the odd dinner or the odd weekend away here and there, that can be a decent compromise as well, okay? So there's that. So there's a variety of different ways that you can meet women, and yeah, online, I think I think it, as I say, it would be stupid to dismiss it, but you can't beat the impact of face-to-face meeting, even in 2023. I genuinely believe that. You just can't. It's just so much more meaningful if you meet somebody face-to-face for the first time, rather than on some weird app where you're just swiping to and fro, which is So unnatural when you come to think about it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little walk around Mexico City and this little meditation on these different ways of meeting people. If you enjoy what I do on the channel, please support me on Patreon. The link is below. It's only $5 a month. I'm not monetized on YouTube, so any help is gratefully received, and you can ask me questions for videos. Please comment below, please give me a like, and if you would like to discuss your own dating life with me, we can absolutely do that. Free call, no obligation. Drop me an email, troy@realtroyfrancis, or you can book a call on my Calendly, and again, the link for that is below. I'll see you again very soon. Bye-bye.